A factory worker from Stoke-on-Trent who made ceramic toilet handles for a living picked up darts at 26, won his first world championship at 29, and then won 15 more. A kid from a small Dutch town who played football until he was 12 picked up darts at 13, won the World Masters at 17, and became the most devastating scorer the sport has ever seen. Phil Taylor, Michael van Gerwen, 16 world titles against 3, 214 professional tournaments against 159. But numbers on a page don't settle this debate, they start it. Because the question isn't just who won more, it's who won better, and those aren't the same thing. Here's what nobody disputes. Phil Taylor's trophy cabinet is the largest in the history of darts, and it probably always will be. 16 world championships, 16 world match plays, 6 Grand Slams, 6 World Grand Prix titles, 87 major titles in total, 214 professional tournament wins. He was world number 1 for over 3,300 days across multiple reigns. He reached 14 consecutive World Championship finals from 1994 to 2007. He won 8 of those in a row from 1995 to 2002. Those numbers are so large, they almost stop meaning anything. So here's one that makes it concrete. Phil Taylor played 107 matches at the World Match Play in Blackpool and won 99 of them over 24 years. Nobody beat him twice at the same venue. That's not dominance. That's an anomaly in the data. Michael van Gerwen's numbers tell a different story. Not a smaller one, a different one. 3 World Championships, 7 Premier League titles, 3 World Match Plays, 6 World Grand Prix titles, 48 major titles, 159 PDC titles overall. He was world number 1 for 2,558 consecutive days, from January 2014 to January 2021. He is the only player in history to have won every televised PDC title at least once. And then there's the number that changes everything. Van Gerwen holds the record for the highest televised 3-dart average in history, 123.4. set against Michael Smith in the 2016 Premier League. Taylor's highest televised average was 118.66. Both extraordinary, but Van Gerwen's ceiling is higher. So there's the tension. Taylor won more, Van Gerwen at his peak may have played better, and the sport was different when each of them was at the top. This is where the debate gets uncomfortable, because you can't compare Taylor's era to Van Gerwen's era without acknowledging what was in front of them. When Taylor won his 8 consecutive world titles from 1995 to 2002, the PDC was still young, the player pool was smaller, the depth of competition was genuinely thinner. Taylor himself acknowledged this indirectly. Wayne Mardle, who was world number 4 during Taylor's peak, played Taylor 29 times and won 3. Roland Skolton was in the world top 8 for 6 years and had a record of roughly 3 wins from 28 matches against Taylor. That kind of lopsided dominance wasn't just about Taylor being better. It was about the gap between the best player and everyone else being enormous. Van Gerwen never had that luxury. By the time he reached world number 1 in 2014, the sport had grown. Prize money had increased. More countries were producing professionals. The average standard of a tour card holder had risen dramatically. Van Gerwen's rivals, Gary Anderson, Peter Wright, Gerwyn Price, Rob Cross, Luke Humphries, Luke Littler, were all capable of beating him on any given night. And they did, regularly. Mardle put it best. The players today are of a standard where in 25 times, they will play their best game, which is good enough to beat Michael. Against Phil, it wasn't possible. That cuts both ways. It means Taylor's dominance was more complete, but it also means Van Gerwen had to maintain a higher level just to stay competitive. Taylor could win world titles averaging 95. Van Gerwen couldn't. If you're enjoying this, hit subscribe. I cover the side of professional darts that never makes the broadcast. And there's a lot more of it than you'd think. Then there's the head-to-head. Taylor and Van Gerwen met 59 times in PDC competition. Taylor won 32, Van Gerwen won 25, 2 draws. On paper, that's Taylor's argument. He has the winning record against the only man who could challenge his legacy. But context matters. Many of those matches came before Van Gerwen's breakthrough in 2012, when he was still a developing player finding his game. During Van Gerwen's prime, between 2012 and 2017, the record flips. Van Gerwen won 15 of their 24 meetings in that period. When both were near their best, Van Gerwen had the edge. Their 2 World Championship final meetings tell the whole story. In 2013, Taylor won 7-4 with a performance that showed he could still rise to the biggest occasion. In 2014, Van Gerwen won 7-4. Ending Taylor's reign as world number 1 permanently. The torch didn't just pass, it was taken. And then there's the question that statisticians have tried to answer. Who was better at their absolute peak? A detailed analysis by dart statistician Christopher Kempf compared Taylor's best years in televised tournaments, 2009 to 2011, against Van Gerwen's best years, 2015 to 2017. The findings were remarkably close. Their overall averages barely differed. Taylor's doubles percentage was slightly higher. Van Gerwen's scoring power was slightly better. At their respective peaks, they were statistically almost identical. The difference was longevity. Taylor maintained elite form for 25 years. Van Gerwen has been at the top for about 12, and his consistency has dipped since 2020. Taylor won his last world championship at 52. Van Gerwen is 36 and has gone 5 years without one, losing 4 finals in that span. So the blueprint exists. It's been analyzed from every angle, and it still doesn't produce a clear winner. Here's what Taylor has that Van Gerwen doesn't: volume. 16 world titles is almost certainly a record that will never be broken. 8 in a row is a streak that belongs in the same conversation as Don Bradman's batting average or Federer's Wimbledon run. The sheer accumulation of titles over 3 decades is unlike anything in any individual sport. Here's what Van Gerwen has that Taylor doesn't: the highest ceiling the sport has ever seen, achieved against the strongest competition the sport has ever produced. Van Gerwen's best performances happened in an era where averaging 100 was the baseline, not the exception. His record average of 123.4 was thrown against a player who was averaging over 100 himself. That's not beating weak opposition. That's redefining what the sport looks like when it's played perfectly. Taylor proved what was possible when one player is better than everyone else for a generation. Van Gerwen proved what was possible when the sport catches up and one player still finds another gear. Both of those things are extraordinary, and they measure different things entirely. The GOAT debate in darts will never be settled because it's really 2 different questions wearing the same outfit. If the question is who achieved more, the answer is Phil Taylor, and it's not close. If the question is who played the best darts the sport has ever seen, the answer is more complicated, and it probably leans toward Van Gerwen at his peak, in an era where peak wasn't enough to dominate the way Taylor did. The uncomfortable truth is that both of them are right, and neither of them is the whole answer. Taylor made darts a career. Van Gerwen made it a spectacle. The sport they left behind is better because both of them existed, and the kid currently sitting at world number 1, winning back-to-back world titles at 18, might eventually make this whole argument irrelevant. But that's a different video. Now, if you want to see what happens when a darts legend's life falls apart in public, I covered the downfall of the man who started it all for Dutch darts right here. And if you're not subscribed yet, you know what to do.